On today's Smile Club podcast, we had Dr. Norman Cahi. He's been in dentistry for 45 years. He's seen it all. He's made millions, lost millions, and he actually gets to explain money in dentistry. It's a topic people don't often want to speak about. But it's not just making money in dentistry. It's what it takes. It's evolving decade after decade, keeping up with the times, that even at 65, we have a gentleman that's moving towards AI, building new practices. I hope you love this episode. So, Dr. Norm Cahi, making millions in dentistry. At 65, you're still one of the top performing practices in the country. Tell me a little bit about how hard it is to make money in dentistry, but how easy you make it seem.
Do I?
You do make it seem easy.
You know, it's a hot topic, money in dentistry.
Not many people want to speak about it.
Nobody wants to speak about it. But money in dentistry is not about greed. Money in dentistry is a reflection of value added, value delivered, and lives improved. So I firmly believe that what I'm providing is so invaluable, it's so priceless, it's such an investment in your oral health that I'm fully entitled to making money and being successful. I have no qualms in looking a patient in the eye and discussing money. I don't leave it to my staff. And I think that's critical to my success, because in that way, I come across as authentic, I come across as professional, and I educate the patient as to why they need to pay what I'm asking. Not explaining to them the costs, but educating them by persuasion, empathetic persuasion, as to why a certain procedure costs.
So let's go back in time when you qualified from varsity. It's not something that's taught to people.
Nothing.
Right? So I look at a lot of dentists struggling, but I know that their patients are buying Louis Vuitton handbags.
Absolutely.
Going overseas on holidays.
Absolutely.
Have big bonds. So I understand it's not taught in dentistry.
No.
And I'm guessing it took many years to hone your skill to be able to explain to a patient the value of oral health and the impact that it has. What are the steps, or what were some of the indicators that helped you get there, of saying, I'm still ethical, but I'm explaining to a patient options and choices? Because a lot of dentists just sit and they wait for a patient to complain and they fix a problem. Not many dentists are proactive in the patient's well-being.
You have to manage the patient's expectations. And the only way you can become successful is by developing trust. In dentistry, trust is the key to your success. And how do you develop trust? By being authentic, by being empathetic, by listening and hearing. You know, a lot of people listen, but they don't actually hear what the patient is saying. You need to read the room. This is all part of emotional intelligence. You need to understand and hear what is being said, as well as what is not being said. You need to look at body language. You need to feel the energy in the room. You need to hear the story behind the story. So the patient will come to you and complain about a certain thing or ask you a certain thing. It's up to you to understand what is the real story behind the anxiety, the embarrassment, the lack of commitment to oral health. And it takes years and years and years of fine-tuning that intuition.
So you've been through courses, you've been through training most of your life.
I'm still training. I'm leaving tonight on another...
You're going off to Australia to meet a few dentists.
Yeah.
If I had to ask, what are the three things that help you? My personal opinion is your emotional intelligence, which you put a lot of effort into.
Yeah.
Understanding money and the selling technique of explaining to a patient what's available, and adoption of new technologies, knowing that they're not going to go away. You've been in dentistry for 40 plus years. And those three key understandings is something you could potentially leave the audience with.
You know, I've learned that you can't resist change. If I resisted change, I would not have been a success. Because in 40 years, dentistry today is so miles away from the dentistry we practiced when I qualified, that if I never kept up with the trends, if I never continued my education, I would have fallen by the wayside. When I qualified, we never heard of HIV. It was a new disease that had just come out. When I qualified, we didn't know what an implant was. Never mind bleaching, never mind aligners, never mind Botox, never mind fillers. There's been a plethora of new innovations, new techniques, new materials, and I've had to stay at the top of my game.
So let's go through the decades, right? 4 decades. Some people watching this aren't even that old.
Yeah.
What were the technologies that helped increase your income across that period? I'm guessing when you finished dental school, it was drill and fill and basics.
Absolutely.
And
and dentures. I mean, those days it was dentures, crown and bridge work. Of course, we knew what to do, but it was all porcelain fused to metal. There was no such thing as metal-free dentistry.
PFMA.
Yeah. So that was the nitty-gritty of dentistry. And I adapted and I learned and I became successful. I fine-tuned my techniques. Dentistry is only 30% hand skills.
So just quickly for the audience, what we're going to go through is understanding in each decade what has made you the most money. And then I want to talk about the learning of that, being uncomfortable. At 60 years old, you're still adopting new technology.
I'm 65.
65.
I am.
What was the first, let's go through the decades. What was the first one that you had to adopt early?
Well, it's a long way to go back, but I think I had to adopt soft skills more than clinical skills right at the beginning, because that is not taught at dental school. Soft skills such as communication, empathy, team management, financial literacy, these are all skills that are not taught in the dental curriculum. And I actually used to question why weren't they taught in the dental curriculum. And after many years and speaking to tutors at the university, they said your curriculum is so jam-packed. It's a 5-6 year degree, jam-packed with subjects. If they had to start adding all these extra soft skills, what must they take out of the curriculum? There's just no time. So I think as I qualified, I learned quickly that developing a rapport with a patient was far more important than actually doing a perfect filling. So that was my first learning curve, is developing soft skills, having a personality with the patients. And I found that it drew patients to me, and patients came back to me because they don't care what you did. Patients care.
Them feel.
Exactly. They're not buying a procedure. They're buying health or beauty or pain-free, a life of pain-free. So I think that was the first few years. I can't remember of them being anything technically advancing in the 80s.
And were you outperforming your peers financially back then?
Well,
on those soft skills?
I wouldn't know, but I mean, I've always regarded myself as successful. So, I mean, the guys that qualified with me are all super successful today, all over the world. But I mean, I can hold my ground. I'm quite happy with the way my career's gone. As I said, the first 10 years, if you're talking about a decade, it was a huge learning curve because HIV it just exploded in the 80s. We never wore gloves when I qualified, believe it or not. That's how far back it was. We never wore gloves. Can you imagine doing dentistry today without gloves? Can you imagine?
I can't even imagine it.
Exactly. And that is the truth. We then had to learn about implants. So that was in the 80s and the 90s. That is what was happening. Then at the end of the 90s, teeth bleaching revolutionized our profession. And I was lucky or fortunate or intuitive enough to be at the cusp of it. I was in the UK and I attended the first World Aesthetic Dental Congress, where Van Halen, who is the founder of teeth bleaching, he started doing it in 1989, and he addressed the topic, and it just intrigued me. Teeth whitening, teeth bleaching. So I learned the techniques, I went on courses, and I came back to South Africa, and I think I was one of the pioneers of teeth whitening and teeth bleaching in South Africa.
And what would whitening or bleaching cost back in those days?
You mean what we charged the patient?
What was?
Oh, probably 500 or 600 rand. I mean, I can't even remember. Maybe 9.99. I really can't remember. Today, of course, we're charging 10 times that. Or
Technology's come a lot further as
absolutely. There's new machine whitening. I mean, there was no such thing as light-activated whitening back in the 90s. It was just tray whitening, which still today is the gold standard, by the way. But my practice has evolved. I've become known as the teeth whitening guy, I think, because a lot of patients come to me and say, my dentist has referred me to you to whiten my teeth. And I say, well, don't they do whitening? And they said, well, not really, but...
And you focused on it. You specifically focused on...
not to the exclusion of other disciplines.
No, but it wasn't something you'd walk in and say, let me do a filling, let me do a filling, let me do a filling. You'd always tell a patient, would you like us white as well?
Yes. And I actively promoted it and educated the patients, because at the beginning, nobody knew what teeth whitening was, teeth bleaching. And I was asked questions, doesn't it strip the enamel of my teeth? Surely it's harming my teeth. Surely it's damaging my teeth. Why is it new? Has it been around long enough? Please don't experiment on me. Which was not the case.
You're one of the few dentists, when I ever meet, I always check my smile to see if they're whitening up. I won't lie. Whenever I come across, and I know I'm seeing Norman, I'm like, ooh, my teeth.
Oh, mine whited up.
Beautiful.
So I did it on myself, on my wife, on my daughter, on my son, on my staff, on my siblings. So I certainly didn't experiment on patients. But my success rate has been high. People are still coming to me after 20 years. I'm still measuring their shades. They still got nice white teeth. Obviously, there's maintenance. It's not a miracle. It's not a once-off procedure. I explain that to the patients up front. You come in for teeth whitening, please know it's not a miracle, and it's not a once-off forever, ever. It's a cosmetic procedure. Like you do your hair, like you do your eyebrows, like you do your nails, there's maintenance. So that is critical. Manage the expectations, then you avoid disappointment. I never believe in over-promising and under-delivering.
So in decades of whitening now, are we talking single-digit millions, 10 million plus?
You're determined to
But,
pull me in on that.
Let's just say it's significant.
It's a significant income stream, hugely significant.
And why I focus on it is because there's a lot of dentists I meet. I've met thousands of dentists across the world. And I see the dentists that are successful, they've honed their skills in emotional intelligence, but they've also always just picked a product or two. And they've stuck to it and become good at it. Whereas a lot of dentists attending a lot of congresses doing so many different treatments, but not actually even driving one within their practice. They hope the patient asks for this. By some telepathy, the patient they offer this.
That's driven by a lack of self-confidence, by a lack of self-belief in what you know and what you know well. So you've got to explain that to the patient. You've got to educate your patient.
And how much time do you spend in a consultation educating a patient? What is that investment you make? Because that takes energy.
Yeah, a lot of energy. So the initial assessment is never shorter than 30 minutes. And that's concentrated one-on-one discussion with me. And then I bring them back for a second case discussion. So the first consultation is obviously a clinical examination. They've already had a radiographic assessment. I will then study the x-rays. During the consultation, I'll take a set of photographs, and then I will study the photographs, the x-rays, and my clinical findings, and I will bring them back for obviously a no-charge case discussion. And I can sit an hour with them, going through every single product and every single procedure.
And I think what you've struck is important because you're quite a popular, famous dentist. Everybody knows you. I know you've groomed many dentists in the space. There's something you're talking about now is workflow process systems.
Yeah.
Right? People know Norman as busy. Right? I have ADHD, you have ADHD. So it's wild. We do so many things at the same time.
Yeah, multitask.
But I notice when it comes to your business or the business of dentistry and your practice, you take the workflow, the patient journey, the understanding. It's one area I've seen you hone in on and sit for hours focusing on. Where you're busy everywhere else, that's one area you've always taken.
Now you've got to have focus. That's one of the, as I said, clinical skills are important to be clinically competent, but it needs focus, it needs patience, it needs tolerance, it needs humility, because patients come to you, as you know, and all day we're hearing, I hate you, I hate being here, please don't hurt me. I'm scared, I'm anxious, I'm embarrassed. So it takes focus. You have to hyper focus on what you're doing. And it's a very stressful profession. As you know, we're working in a small confined space, down a hole, in close contact, in intimate contact. I mean, how many people besides your romantic partner do you meet for the first time and come into close contact where your hands are on their face and their body and you almost face to face in a very close proximity? That is stressful. And you're doing that every hour. Every hour you're meeting a completely new stranger, and immediately you You're engaging in a very intimate, personal space.
And that's why I'm guessing you've put such a solid workflow in of consulting, getting to know them before
Absolutely.
you're doing anything clinical. It's not just jump in my chair, let me fix your problem.
Never. They fill in a very comprehensive questionnaire. My staff are very well trained by me. They screen the patients at the first initial contact on the phone. So when patients come in, they know what to expect. They know what they're going to be charged. They know what they need to fill in. They're told to come 20 minutes early because it's a very, very comprehensive medical and dental questionnaire, plus a smile analysis.
So if you look at that, there's a premium to be charged for skill and expertise and taking your time.
Yeah.
Because it's not just quick fix dentistry.
Definitely.
Right? Not that there's anything wrong with volume, because some people can't afford high-end dentistry, which I fully get. And then if you take it as being able to charge that premium, you see probably less patients.
Oh, definitely.
But it's more intense per patient.
Definitely. And higher income. So I'm working smarter, not harder. I mean, I worked in the UK under the NHS for 6 years. I used to see 20 to 25 to 30 patients a day. Because if you didn't, you just didn't earn enough to survive. Here, it's unheard of. I wouldn't dream of asking my staff to book me 20 to 25 patients a day. I would see 5 to 12 patients a day and give them quality work, undivided attention, and I leave feeling not restful, but I know that I've given my best.
And that's another topic I want to go on to, is how the body starts to handle it as you get older.
Oh.
Let's not talk about that now, because I know at 47 what starts to happen. I look at my dad at 77, so I can imagine the strain trying to see volume.
Yeah.
What was the next technology that came about that's really
Well, after teeth bleaching, which is still booming, the next buzzword was Botox and fillers. So that came out maybe in the early 2000s, and we jumped on the bandwagon because there's nobody more expert at the perioral area than dentists. So it started with people coming to me and asking me to give them a local anesthetic, and I said, why? Well, you're not having treatment. They were going to an esthetician to have Botox and fillers. And it happened a lot. I had modeling agencies and casting agencies sending me purely to give an injection. So I went on a course in England. I went back to London and I attended a course on doing non-surgical facial aesthetics, Botox and fillers. Then I did the advanced course, and then I came back and I introduced it into my practice. And Chelsea has done the same course, my daughter. And today it's become a new income stream. You know, so why must we only give the local anesthetic? Obviously, we experts are doing that, but do the technique itself. And patients love it. It's a one-stop shop, so they come in for teeth whitening. They'd also like a crown or a veneer or a smile makeover. And can you do a bit of filler or Botox?
You build a good history with understanding the patient for a long period of time. It's not like the patient has to pull records from here and what does the doctor do and what happens
here. But again, patients won't undergo that if they haven't got trust in you. So it's absolutely vital that you develop that trust from the very first impression. First impressions do count. So the way you dress, the way you come across, the way you smell, the way you look, the atmosphere of your of your practice, the ethos, the culture, the mutual respect. You need to run an efficient practice calmly, sedately, and focused. Patients don't want to sit in the reception and perceive that there's chaos. That's very damaging. They want to perceive it as calm, in control, focused, and efficient. And they want to experience a positive patient journey. And that is critical. The patient journey. That means from the time of the initial phone call, that's the beginning of the patient journey, until you sign off a treatment plan. That's called the patient journey. And if that is a positive experience, you've won that patient for life. You have a brand ambassador who will talk about you. They will recruit patients, refer patients, and you'll see their kids and their kids' kids. And that has happened, thankfully, to me over the last 45 years. I am seeing grandchildren of patients that I started seeing in 1984. So I'm very fortunate and I'm humbled. It's humbling and it's rewarding And it's a stress breaker to know that you must be doing something right.
Of course.
So,
Of course. So now you're doing Botox and fillers, and this is, I'm guessing, is the early 2000s.
yeah,
I know some aesthetic doctors, not necessarily dentists, but in the aesthetic space, they're charging probably about 4,500 to 5,000 rand for Botox, and they're seeing a customer every 15 minutes. And that's
okay, well, we're not churning it out like that.
I know some guys, but that's the opportunity size, the people that realize.
Absolutely.
I know quite a few that are probably doing 20 patients a day.
Yeah,
at 40.
dentists.
No.
Yeah, aestheticians, yeah. Yeah, I've got colleagues that have given up clinical medicine and all they're doing is facial aesthetics and they're booming. So, yes, but I mean, if I was doing that, then I wouldn't be doing clinical dentistry anymore. So I've sort of allowed Chelsea to take that side over. So she does more of that than I do. I focus on what I enjoy doing and what I'm good at, and that is smile makeovers, full oral rehabilitations, and we've each got our own, our own field that we enjoy doing.
And what is making you money today?
I would say full oral rehabilitations. I mean, that's where the big money lies. If you've got the right patient who's got the right attitude with the right pocket, and you have sold the work to them ethically. The important word is ethical selling. We are in the selling business. Dentistry is a business. It's an art, it's a science, but the bottom line is it's a business.
Also, is doctors in breast augmentation, tummy tucks,
Absolutely.
facelifts,
Yeah.
all of it. It's still in the middle.
Absolutely. So as long as you know that you're selling something ethically, you're educating the patient through empathetic persuasion. It's not about manipulation. You don't manipulate a patient. You don't lie to a patient. You don't overpromise, as I say. I've got all the tools available to me. Today there's models, there's 3D scanning, there's CBCT scans. It's so easy to make a correct diagnosis. You've got a lot of adjunctive therapies and tools available, which we never had 35 years ago. So it's easier to make a diagnosis now and to draw up a treatment plan and to present a case presentation and draw up an estimation of fees and discuss it and proceed. And I'm getting case acceptances very often because of the way I conduct the patient journey.
So important. So important.
Yeah.
And after Botox and fillers, what's the next technology?
Did we talk about implants? That was before.
Early?
Yeah.
Prior implants?
Well, then I met a guy called Elton. And I'm so privileged to be sitting opposite you now. And I took a liking to you from the first day I met you. It was at some conference.
It was a SADA Congress.
Yeah. I don't know what it was. You were with a colleague who I always admired, a lovely lady. And
that
you
was 2018, by the way.
Was it only 2018? And something, I left thinking, what a hell of a nice guy that was. And then it was, I think, a year later or two that you started talking to me and you spoke to me about the Smile Club. And then you brought out this lovely product, which I'm using successfully, called Active Aligners.
It was about 6 months later from there.
Yeah.
And you were one of the early adopters.
I was. And again, I was so happy and lucky to be at the cusp of this new wave, because today, even orthodontists, my esteemed colleagues who are top orthodontists, are starting to believe in clear aligners. Because for years, the orthodontist would not entertain if I said, can you do a clear aligner or an Invisalign? We used to call it Invisalign because that was the gold standard. And they said, no, we don't do it, or we don't believe in it, or there's no longevity, or there's relapse. There was a lot of resistance, but not today. I think today they've just had to adopt. You can't resist change. I mean, it's what people are requesting. Today, I have people coming to ask me for aligners. They know that word.
I remember the first few consultations. You said, Elton, I got to use a digital platform. I got to see where teeth are going to move.
I didn't know what I was doing.
But you said, I'm going to do this because I can see where this is going.
Yeah, it was a learning curve. But I give you credit for that. You encouraged me, you motivated me, you inspired me, and I thank you for it.
And on your clear aligner journey, if you look at, you run a very strong workflow. Oral health first.
Yeah,
function, alignment in terms of function plus some form of aesthetics. Then you look at some form of bleaching, and then either bonding, veneers, or...
Correct.
I don't think people understand the patient journey in that long term, having that patient with you, and the money that's made in that process. I look at the case volumes that come through from an aligner point of view that you're doing. It's highly profitable. And being able to still do that late in your career, where many people are winding down because they're not finding it worth it, and they're taking toll on the body, you found a way to use products, tools, treatments, and all your skill sets I can see you working way into your 70s. Whether you want to or not is different.
I'm not sure.
I think you're too busy to slow down. I think you lose your mind not having to go to a job or to an office.
Yeah, I couldn't be bored. But I was so happy with this new income stream because it has revolutionized, it's re-energized me in the profession, in my career. You know, it's given me something to look forward to. I love seeing these patients. And I'm learning my limitations. You know, you cannot just jump in and do advanced cases. So it's been a learning curve. I've made mistakes like everybody else. But I mean, I'd rather make a mistake and learn from that mistake and be humbled by that mistake than become arrogant through achievement.
I think with the aligners, people ask me, Elton, what's the worst that can happen? I said, tell the patient to wear them backwards. Put them where they started, give them their money back. Because it's always progression, right?
Exactly.
And it's not like you're worrying, I've done surgical, I've done an implant, it's just going to fail.
No.
Is the patient bleeding?
It's non-invasive.
So,
It's like teeth bleaching. It's non-invasive, and it's one of the few procedures that patients are actually actively requesting. I mean, nobody comes and knocks at my door and says, please give me a root canal treatment, or please take out my wisdom tooth, or please lance my abscess. But they do knock at my door, phone my line and say, I want my teeth white. I want my teeth straight. I want a beautiful smile. And I've stepped up to that. I've had to step up to those demands. You've got to meet your patient's demands.
we've trained more doctors, I think, in the country around aligners and the protocol of health, function, alignment, aesthetics, I think, than anybody's done in the history of
I'm
Africa.
sure.
We've run so many courses.
I'm sure.
And conferences, and I'm hoping that continues well into the future, because
I think it's here to stay.
smiling shouldn't be that expensive, right? To straighten your teeth shouldn't be that expensive in what some of the companies are charging for aligner therapy. And, you know, you say Chelsea's doing some of your lower end dentistry that you're focusing on the high end aesthetics. She does a lot of the kids. I see you've got a lot of kids in your practice.
We do a lot of children.
To change the topic, you've had some of the top dentists that are now in their prime through your practice.
Yes.
Yes. Guided. I know some dentists charging well above 20,000 Rand for some of per crown or per veneer at the top of the game that spent many years with you.
Yeah.
I don't think it's something seen of how many people you've trained, mentored to.
No. I don't think I've ever publicly spoken about it, but I have been fortunate enough to have been a mentor to a lot of young dental students and newly qualified dentists and oral hygienists. So by word of mouth or by my reputation, I'm very proud to impart my knowledge. Because, I mean, that's legacy thinking. You've got to think about giving back. You've got to think about imparting your knowledge. Why take your knowledge with you, your wisdom with you? God gave me a talent. God gave me this knowledge. My privileged lifestyle and my good parenting allowed me the education I've got. So give back, pay it forward. Teach the youngsters, explain to them, give them the trade secrets. What's the big deal? It comes back to me tenfold.
I'm going to change. Faisal Mansour said it in a very different way, but I'm going to change it slightly. He said, we don't inherit the world from the people older than us. We give the world to the people younger than us.
Yeah.
So it's giving, making sure that those people coming through carry on, and through that is the legacy. And I see some of those doctors quite often that have spent time with you, and I can see their...
I hope they talk well of me.
They do. They're generally ahead of many others, and I think it's some of the early stuff that you mentioned around emotional intelligence, financial planning, understanding the patient, building trust, not rushing.
Soft skills. I mean, you can learn clinical skills at dental school and in a lifetime of fine-tuning, but it's very hard to teach someone the soft skills. And as I said, dentistry is only 30% hand skill, but it's 70% psychology.
So I want you to treat we get a few hundred to a few thousand people watching this. When a dentist comes in and is under your mentorship, what are 2 things that you make sure they leave knowing after a few years? I want to give the audience an opportunity that all of them got to experience working for Norman. And
I think the most important thing is being ethical, because if you're a dishonest character, dentistry is the profession where you can flourish. If you're dishonest, you're not transparent, you can get away with murder, literally. So I'm pedantic and extremely fussy in teaching ethical selling and being ethical. No over-servicing, but at the same time, you have to sell your dentistry. Otherwise, you won't make a profit. So profitability in an ethical way, I want them to learn. And secondly, know when enough is enough.
is that on the dentistry side or you as a person being burnt out, stressed, tired?
Both really, but I'm talking about financially. As they go through their career, and as Erban, I've realized that you need to get to a point where you must know where enough is enough. Whether it's making money, whether it's working hours, it's the life-work balance between practice and personal life. Know when enough is enough. Don't overextend yourself. Don't just go after the buck. Enjoy your life. Enjoy the journey.
So I think
there have been sacrifices in my life that I've had to give up. I could have made much more money than I have made, but I would have missed out on spending time with my children, spending time with my late parents, traveling, enjoying photography, enjoying hiking, enjoying traveling that gives me so much pleasure. Enough is enough. You need to understand. I've got colleagues in America at my age. They take exactly 14 days leave in a year. Why?
Wow.
Because they refuse their income to drop. I mean, that's not living. That's working and existing.
How tied are you to your degree, dentist? How
I don't think my identity... Sorry?
How close is your identity tied to... I work with a lot of execs and their title, I'm a CEO, I'm a managing director, they become so tied to that.
No, I don't feel my profession is my identity. I don't. I'm Norman Cahi or Dr. Norman Cahi, and I live my life in an authentic manner. My profession is only one facet of my character. I don't know if I'm answering the question, but I don't feel that. But it's very important to have integrity. Very important, especially with social media. And what do I mean by that is when your public persona that you put out there and your actual personal belief system and value system is in sync and it's integrated. That's when you become an authentic and you've got integrity.
So if you had to stop practicing tomorrow.
Stop.
Let's say tomorrow you said, I'm done. Would you still be a dentist or would you be Norman?
No.
And I ask this question, you've got a lot of people coming through that are younger that's going to watch this, that they're going to tie their identity to their profession. And you've got a lot of people wanting to leave dentistry and they're going to have to exist in a world where they're just a person.
No, if I could stop and if I wanted to stop, I could. I would enjoy my life, but I think I would be bored.
Very bored.
I would think I would be very bored.
You know, I would have a lot of early morning coffees.
Yeah. I think I'd be bored. So I don't think it's something on the horizon for me. I first thought it would be. I mean, when I started, 65 was a million years away. And I look back now and I'm at that age and I feel young, I feel vital, I feel energized, and I'm actually in a good space now, in a much better...
Not too long ago, you set up a whole new practice.
Yeah.
2-3 years ago,
yeah,
you built up a whole new practice.
That's right. You've got to keep evolving. You've got to keep evolving.
And, you know, your social media, Miss South Africa, you drove a lot through social media. Again, early adopter of something
exactly. Coming. That's also, we didn't mention that, but that really exploded on the dental scene.
And it's uncomfortable to put yourself out there. Very uncomfortable. But I also know that you recently lost your social media account.
Oh,
does that actually have an impact to a practice?
Huge impact.
Does it actually have a material impact?
Definitely.
I suppose there's two things I want from here is did it impact your confidence? Right, of going, wow, I've lost this following, I've lost Because I know people take that, and then the other side is the ability to earn income because you've invested years into growing something. So I know we can't get the social media accounts back, but has it had an impact?
It must have had an impact, a domino effect, but I certainly didn't let it affect me emotionally. It was just something that happened. Whether it was professional jealousy or whether it was hacked by cybercrime, I'm not sure. But we lost 10,000 followers, and it wasn't easy getting 10,000 followers in a dental practice. I mean, how many people want to follow a dental practice? It's not like we're something so glamorous. But we started again, and I just carry on. I mean, it has had an impact financially. We did undergo a slump, but I'm not sure if that's post-COVID or if it was post-losing my Instagram and Facebook page. But I mean, I'm carrying on. We're doing our posts, we're doing our reels, and we...
But I see marketing overall in dentistry. I can see a difference between those that spend time on it in their revenue and their practice.
No, we do spend time
and
on
the brand, and it's not a short-term thing. It's not like, oh, you put one thing out today.
No.
It makes a difference.
Consistency.
It took years to develop that, even through to your websites, to how you present yourself.
Yeah. You've got to be consistent. Otherwise, people don't know what to trust. They don't, your reputation is important.
So would you say, is any healthcare provider nowadays being on social media in some form of way
important?
Because there's no more yellow pages.
No more.
There's no more.
Who advertises anymore? It's the only form of PR. And we're lucky enough that the Health Professions Council allows us to do it. Because it was tough when I qualified. We were allowed that little gold plaque outside our door and maybe an advert to say, you're now in practice in the newspaper. But there was no such thing as advertising and marketing and PR.
When you consume now, right, we all use healthcare services.
Yeah.
Do you go to a doctor's Instagram page to go see what they're offering?
No, not really.
Or if it's...
Not really, but if I'm scrolling and I come across and I see the person talking to me and I can relate to him or her, and I can relate to the service or product they're providing, then I may consider it. I may then look at Google reviews or do a bit of search. It's so easy to search someone today online. So your reputation, your name is key.
And I think that's important because not just the social media side, it's being online as a person.
You've got to have an online presence. But I've learned a lesson that it has to be super secure. Probably mine wasn't super secure and that's why I lost it. I don't know. But we've learned. It's another lesson learned.
No, there's people out there, that's their job, is to try and just hack accounts and steal money. And
terrible.
As a full-time job. And then the ability to handle stress. Is it directly related to being successful? I look at all the stress you've had to go through, and some of the things that you thought were stressful, then now you walk through, right? But at that time, there must have been a point in your career that you said, oh, stress is temporary. Uncomfort is temporary.
Stress is integral to dentistry. That goes without saying. You live with stress and you overcome it and you learn to cope with it. It never goes away. So it's vital to learn how to handle stress and how to diminish your stress in order to be successful. So physical stress, the demands on your body, emotional stress, mental strain, visual strain, auditory strain, manual dexterity strain, all of it adds to physical stress, mental stress, emotional stress, and financial stress because you feel that you've got to perform all the time to keep your standard of living.
No work, no pay.
Exactly. I'm sitting here with you. I'm not making money. So it's not like a business owner that can sleep and generate millions. If your hands aren't actively engaging in a treatment you're not making money. Yes, you can leave it to an associate or to a junior, but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
People come to you and they want you to do the work.
So it goes whether you're locuming or you own your own practice.
Absolutely.
Don't go to the locum. That's where the locum ends in.
Yeah.
And how do you manage that? What have been your coping techniques over?
I've undergone a lot of self-development, self-reflection, meditation. I've been on retreats. I've been on courses to manage my stress. That type of thing.
Active. You actively
actively.
You don't just say, "Oh, it's stressful. I'm going to walk away from it." You
No.
look for
You've got to be proactive. You've got to build in stress relievers during the day, whether it's gym, whether it's dancing, whether it's taking photographs, whether it's sitting in the sun, whether it's meditating, praying, walking, some form of stress breaker. You have to.
And I think that's so important. I think that's for all humans, not just...
Yeah, it's a life skill.
I think people that are under tremendous amounts of stress, even in some of their jobs, learn that they're going to quit if they don't find a way to take a break.
I've had to learn the hard way because I've reached a point where I was very close to burnout in my life. You know, just about finished. I was exhausted, mentally, physically, emotionally, and I was ready to throw in the towel. But I've had to relearn and get re-energized and develop a new passion. And that's why I've evolved in my game. And that's why I'm still evolving, and that's why I'm keeping myself interested and interesting. And people love to engage with me. They love to talk about my journey with me, and they enjoy my sense of humor. And, you know, I have a wide circle of friends. I've got a great network. And I believe it's an important stress breaker, having a system, a support system to keep you afloat, to keep you positive, to keep you energized. Otherwise, we'd all be depressed and stressed and sad. And, you know, being sad and suffering is not a predetermined by some divine decree. Some people actually go through life thinking they should suffer. They almost martyr themselves in being sad and depressed and anxious.
It's a lot of those people.
Do you know what I mean?
It's a brand. It's how... It's almost
I'm the victim. Self-pity. For what? For what? Hashem, Allah, Shiva, Buddha, Jesus, whoever you believe in. I really believe that any higher being wants us to be happy.
And do you think that's a choice?
Of course it's a choice.
It's a mental conscious decision as a human.
Life is a series of choices. Make the right choice and happiness will come. But you are responsible for your own actions. You are responsible and accountable for the choices you make. You can't be responsible for somebody else's happiness, even in a marriage. She must make herself happy, you must make yourself happy, and together you will trade off each other's happiness.
You've got to add to each other's happiness.
Add.
I agree.
You know? Happiness is not, it's not a pre-given, but we have to actively say yes to life. Enjoy life as it is. Accept the challenges, overcome them, and grow. Why go through life suffering?
So can I ask a deep question here? What are you overcoming at the moment? What at 65 are you thinking about? Are you overcoming? Is it?
Well, I'm overcoming physical challenges. That I must tell you. It hasn't been easy. My hearing's affected. My vision's been affected. My joints are being affected. My hips, my back. I mean, I now sound like a basket case, but physically it's taken its toll.
And I just want to point out to the audience that I've known Norman for 7 years. Not once has he ever complained about these things.
No,
never
no.
let anybody know.
No.
He's never, so to the victim mentality he was talking around,
Yeah.
he doesn't go and say, oh, my shoulder, this
No.
it's the first time I've actually ever heard you say this.
Yeah, no, I just cope. I go for physio, or I go to a biokinetist, a gym. You know, I just got to accept it. There's so many people less fortunate than myself. So you need to be sensitive to the needs of those less fortunate, and you just got to cope with whatever life throws at you.
But I think, you're saying accept it. You're not accepting it. You're looking at ways of relieving it, making it better.
You've got to.
Giving yourself lifespan. So you're not just,
Yeah.
you're proactive about taking care
as
of it.
usual.
Giving yourself
Yeah.
lifespan.
Yeah, as usual. That is my part of my persona. I don't just accept and be passive. I'm actively trying to find ways of combating that stress in my life, whether it's physical stress. I undergo life coaching, even though I could be a life coach myself, I've been told. You talk to other people about your issues, your problems, your stresses, the mistakes, your fears, your hopes, your dreams. Even at 65, I've still got hopes for the future. I've still got a bucket list I want to complete. And I still feel that life's wonderful and it's there for the living and the giving.
And I think to close off 3 tough questions. Making money in dentistry or making money in business, what cost does it come at? People always want to make it. What cost does that come at? You
can be commercially successful, but at the same time have compassion and remain an authentic human being.
And this goes across all business.
I think so.
Whether you're in a retailer or...
Yeah. You can be commercially successful, but still be an ethical human being.
But what cost does that come as to the person doing it? You look at Elon Musk, you look at some of the top guys, to be a standout, to do what you've done.
Yeah.
To put
You
yourself
need to keep harmony in your life, balance and harmony. So there's a limit to how many pieces of the pie.
Have you pushed that limit before?
Yeah, absolutely. There was a time where I was coming home at 6, 7 o'clock at night and not seeing my kids before bedtime, or not having time to be at that soccer game or the concert. There was.
And is that necessary every now and then? I
It
believe
is.
it's necessary.
It
that
is
you can't
necessary.
always have balance.
No. At the beginning of your career, you have to push it. You have to, until you've developed a reputation and a name. Then you can step back. We never traveled in our early years because I was working so hard. So it does come at a sacrifice, but you need to regroup your thoughts, balance your life, and look at it from the outside.
So did you always know what you were sacrificing for?
Yeah. My priority was my family's welfare. Money came, but it was never my number one priority. My number one priority was the welfare and happiness of my wife and children and my parents. So that was my driver. And money and becoming successful financially was my second driver. Now that the kids have grown up and they're successful in their own way, and my wife's got this burgeoning art career, which I'm so proud of, I can step back, not work as hard, and enjoy the fruits of my labor.
So what are you doing for Norman now at 65?
Oh, I'm traveling all over the world. I'm just loving my traveling. I've been this year to numerous places. I did the Camino, which is a 150-kilometer walk as a hike in northern Spain.
150 km?
Yeah. But I mean, in over 10 days.
No, but that's
right. It was fantastic.
Most people can't even do 10,000
No,
steps a day on Discovery.
Exactly. So that was a great feather in my cap. So I'm enjoying that type of thing. And traveling most of the times with my wife, but sometimes there's places she doesn't want to go to or experience, So I do it on my own. She's given me the freedom and the space, and I'm loving it. So traveling is one thing. Taking photographs is another. Anyone that's following me on social media will know I just love taking beautiful photographs of homes, of doors, of places, of gardens, of people, of children, of architecture, of art. I've got a lot of interests, music, and I'm enjoying my life. I mean, I'm still doing my dentistry. I'm still engaged in my profession.
I just want to also say, at 65, you work harder than most 40-year-olds. Although you found this ability to balance it. When you work, you work.
Oh, yes. When I leave you here.
I don't want people to get the perception that you're not working. I understand.
No, I work hard.
You still work.
I get home and I'm finished. When I get home, I am exhausted. I've really put a day's work in.
And second last question. What is ADHD is almost a form of addiction. We bounce, we do this. How do you help control and funnel that? What is is it important factor?
This is the first time I've been labelled ADHD. But I've got personal experience with ADHD. But I probably am, and I've never known it. But ADHD means you can't focus on any one specific topic, whereas I can.
When you want to.
I can.
When you want to.
So I don't know. I've never tried medication, but I've tried a lot of other therapies and modalities, and that's how I've got through life.
And do you think it's a superpower? I've seen you operate in so many different facets, and sometimes
it could be, because ADHD people are very creative, intelligent, go-getters, entrepreneurs. So if that makes me ADHD, then I'm ADHD.
For me, it's almost a form of addiction, because I enjoy that constant stimulation.
The adrenaline.
Dopamine hits and fixing. And I've learned that I got to just finish what I start. Right. And I learned that in my 30s. So if I start something, just learn to finish it. Because we always enjoy the excitement of it.
Exactly. Something new.
And then to end off, it's not about the state of dentistry. It's what do you wish for dentistry in the future? Not many people have got 45 years under their belt, still practicing without gloves, which is I still find wild.
Yeah.
Right? To modern day
cutting edge
implants, VCTs, analysis. What do you wish for dentistry for the future?
Well, look, it's not what I wish, but it's been thrust upon us, and that's the AR revolution. It's upon us. It's happening. It's mind-boggling, and it is definitely the future in everything. Yes, I can't see AI replacing clinical dentistry, but I can definitely see it replacing practice management, financial management, human resources, stock taking, and things like that. So to any youngster out there, you need to not resist change and follow this pattern of AI and get training and understand where it's heading. As far as clinical dentistry goes, I'm not sure what the next big thing is going to be. They are doing stem cell...
tooth regeneration, bone regeneration.
Yeah, they are doing that. I don't know much about it, but, it's not going to be in my lifetime. But it's, as far as new inventions, I'm not sure what the next big thing is going to be. But I can tell you now that AI is going to change the way we live, the way we operate, the way we make money, and the happiness we achieve.
It sounds like something you're already early adopting at 65.
I am. My son's actually at the cutting edge of it. He's started an online AI business, and he's educating me. I'm loving listening to him every day.
Dr. Norm, I thoroughly enjoyed having you on the podcast.
Thank you.
We will edit out this piece if you want. Is there anything you want to talk about? Is there anything you want to leave the guests with that?
I think you did mention that you'd ask me what my gift to the world is. So my gift to the world is the smiles that I create. Simple as that. I firmly believe that in creating smiles, I'm changing lives. And when you change a life, that's a gift that keeps multiplying, because you've changed one life and that life is going to change another life. So, that is such a God-given gift that I possess and that I'm giving to the world.
And just for the audience's benefit, people aren't talking here about the most aesthetic makeovers. It's oral function. It's just having good oral health.
Pain-free, living pain-free.
Being able to smile a little bit confidently.
Exactly. I feel that by fixing somebody's smile, I'm giving them joy, I'm giving them confidence, I'm giving them self-esteem. I'm not giving them a crown or a veneer or an implant. That's not what I'm giving. I'm giving them something intangible and something invaluable, something priceless. And that's a sense of self-esteem.
So is that the gift you want? Is that what you wish for dentistry in the future? That dentists understand that being able to give people that, regardless of technology, AI.
That's my legacy to the profession, is understand the value of what you are giving to the patient. You are not giving them a filling or a crown or an implant or a veneer or even a beautiful smile. You are imparting them, or you're giving them something that has been broken. A part of them has been broken, a fractured smile, a painful experience, a stressful episode. You are changing that for them forever. So you are changing lives.
That's so powerful.
And what better gift can you give the world? What better legacy? You are actually making a difference in somebody's life. And if that starts with what you do to children, that's why it's so important, the way you treat, respect, and educate children. So they grow up in a dentist-free or in an anxiety-free dental experience. You've set them up for life.
Well, like you're talking about all the grandkids that are starting to come to you.
Yeah.
I think they fear the dentist.
Yeah.
I don't think they're carrying that.
No, they don't. That tradition of going from parent to child is breaking, of fear and anxiety. It's breaking. And dentists need to know that. That's extremely important. Children are practice builders. If you're good to children, the parents will come, the siblings will come, the grandparents will come, and so you will build on.
Beautiful. Dr. Noor.
Thank you, my brother.
So much.
And I love you.
It amazes me how many people actually watch the Smile Club podcast but don't like or subscribe. Please, it adds so much to the channel. The Smile Club podcast, sponsored by Active Aligners, is designed that you can watch it on the go, listening to the car, not have to sit through long lectures, incur a massive cost to attend a conference, and look for information that resonates with you that maybe makes a difference in your life. So please like and subscribe. It adds value to our channel. It gets it to more people. And I'm pretty sure over the course of the upcoming episodes and the past episodes, it will make a difference to you or somebody in your life.